Hello, this is Catherine A. Salazar and welcome to Intercultural Leadership. According to MOA, one can never be prepared for whatever cultural interaction could bring in any given moment. Therefore, in this video lesson, we will discuss two topics. First is cultural intelligence defined, with 4 subtopics. First, what is cultural intelligence? It is the ability to successfully adapt to unfamiliar cultural setting. According to Early and Mosakowski, it is about learning new cultural situations, creating a new framework for understanding what a person experiences and sees. Similarly, Thomas and Inkson said that it's about being skilled and flexible about understanding a culture, to be more sympathetic to the culture, and to be more skilled and behaviors be appropriate when interacting with cultures. Therefore, it has been known to increase the success of multicultural team performance because leaders who are culturally intelligent have awareness of how culture contributes to communication and creates shared learning. Consider that cultural intelligence is like tuning into different stations. When we are in a different city or state, we begin to lose the signals of our favorite stations. Our first reaction is to find something familiar. However, in intercultural interaction, our skill sets and our knowledge may not be enough to cope in a new cultural environment. Therefore, we need to be able to learn how to turn off or reset ourselves to better adapt to the new situation. Now, what is cultural intelligence model? It is a framework to help you learn to turn off your cruise control. How? There are 3 areas. Metacognition and cognition represents your ability to think, learn, and strategize. Motivation refers to your self-efficacy and confidence, your ability to be persistent, and the alignment to your personal values. And behavior is your ability to have a repertoire of skills and your ability to adapt your behavior. These are the elements that are important in the model of cultural intelligence, the ABCs of CI. A for acquire knowledge, meaning be attentive of cultural system, how cultures are created, interpreted, and shared. B, build your strategic thinking, meaning awareness of the surroundings through preparation and planning, the metacognition that expands behavioral repertoires. C for contemplate your motivation and ability to work with others, paying attention to your responses to unfamiliar situation, reflecting on your interest, motivation, drive, and willingness. Simply be present. And D, do, adapt, and perform. It refers to conscious choice in day-to-day living. Perform new behavior based on a new surroundings. What does it mean for culturally intelligent leaders? For acquire, leaders must have a fundamental piece of inter- and cross-cultural interaction. For build, leaders should have the ability to strategize. For contemplate, presence allows leaders to identify the cultural scripts that are hidden and to recognize when to turn them off. And D refers to leaders as chameleons in social environments, changing their behaviors to mimic their surroundings. Now, what makes cultural intelligence unique? As another form of intelligence, it is believed that people with particular intelligence have the ability to steer their way through unfamiliar cultural interactions. They do this in what seems to others as an effortless manner. People who have high emotional and social intelligences do not necessarily have high cultural intelligence because cultural intelligence theory includes the influence of cultural factors and their impact in intercultural interactions. How cultural intelligence is different from other approaches. It is a growing field that is continuously being researched and tested in many societies. It demands that leaders gather more than knowledge of cultural facts. It emphasizes a circular path, not a linear one, which means that over time, one will continuously learn and their cultural intelligence will expand, and it does not speak to specific cultures. Finally, the labyrinth of cultural intelligence. This labyrinth represents the journey to willingly take risk and challenge yourselves that lead to psychological transformation and change, leading to fulfilling life with new consciousness of your place in the world. Now let's proceed on the second big topic in this video lesson, the future of cultural intelligence. As they say, we have responsibility to one another. When asked how to describe the person of tomorrow, Rogers said, in the new world, person of tomorrow will have a desire for creating wholeness in life, thought, and feelings. On the other hand, Hasselbein said that person of tomorrow has a thirst for personal and inner knowledge and a thirst to understand how this information will uncover a more profound awareness for how we relate to one another. There are 4 areas in which cultural intelligence improves our understanding of culture and intercultural work. First is reframing. It is about shift of perspective from one single to one with multiple filters, moving leaders to mindfulness on destructive behavioral patterns. One area in reframing is demographics. We also have to ask ourselves with this question: how can this relationship help me reach my organizational or personal goal? And what can I or we learn from this relationship, and how can the learning move us toward our vision? This will lead to developing a long-lasting and meaningful intercultural leadership. Second is adaptive work, referring to adapting to human challenges that requires that we have to go beyond the requirements of simply surviving. It also refers to reality check, because to be culturally intelligent means that you must constantly review, revise, and reflect upon your personal value systems and how these systems impact your cultural interactions. They say that the measurement to effectiveness of organization as a system should include in its tool the personal value system, because there are people within the organization who are driven by their personal values and beliefs, and that organizations can adapt if the people within them are given the opportunity and resources to adapt. We are now down to systems thinking that is also coined as interdependence. According to Sinch, leaders of the future must have the skill set to see patterns of interdependency. We ask as leaders the question, if we did not do this, what would be lost? The first step is to be clear about the leader's purpose in working with cultural groups, people, and processes. Then explore and identify what it would mean to the organization. It will lead to deep and authentic dialogue about the responsibility that each person brings to the process, and will lead to understanding that diversity is not something to control or manage, rather, it is a human element that needed to be nurtured. And finally, among the 4 areas is consciousness, referring to a more holistic, paradoxical picture of leadership that engages people's whole self, including the emotional, physical, mental, social, and spiritual domains. It is believed that opposites create harmony in cultural intelligence. Example, individualism and collectivism complement each other, enabling us to look at our individual and group strengths and our weaknesses in their totality. Now returning to the cultural labyrinth. The labyrinth represents that leaders must be able to raise their levels of collective cultural consciousness by seeking out the challenges or our abyss. This will lead that at the end of the journey, you will no longer be the same person. Your leadership story will become different. To end, cultural intelligence provides leaders with a chance to expand their capacities to become better cross-cultural leaders. That is all. Thank you for listening.